Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Contemplations. So this is again an interview with Maurice, and today he's going to be telling us a little bit more about his PhD journey. Maurice, thank you again so much for being on this show. Please tell us a little bit about passion.
So originally I was very interested in passion when I was working in finance because I saw that a lot of my colleagues, people that I was working with, they were working extremely hard, but when I asked whether or not they loved what they did, it was always like, no, I don't love this, but I love something else. And I became very interested in, well, who are these unicorns or mythical individuals who actually pursue their passion as a career? And this was, 10 plus years ago, and it wasn't as big as it is now. People weren't necessarily talking about passion. There weren't any Steve Jobs commencement speeches about pursue your passion and follow it. So it's kind of looked like, well, work is work and passion is for the weekend, and you kind of invest in your passion as your hobby. But I didn't really see it that way. So I decided to look into it and spend a bit of time. I left finance originally to do an MPhil here at the University of Cambridge, which led me to looking into passion very much at a basic level. Then I went back to finance, and then I started to kind of develop, my own theories and thoughts around it. And I did a bit more passion research. And the thing that became very clear for me is, although I wasn't just looking at it from a very academic perspective, I wanted to make it a bit more applied. Passion creates a bit of anxiety for people.
Does it?
It creates a bit of anxiety.
Tell me more about it.
I mean, as you have that cultural shift to entrepreneurship, and it's now a real big thing. Everyone's an entrepreneur, everyone's on social media, having online businesses, et cetera, and it's great. But the reality now is, now that people kind of see others pursuing their passion and they may still be at their job, there may be a bit of anxiety around, well, I know what my passion is now. There are avenues to pursue it. However, I may feel more comfortable with a job, a steady paycheck. I may feel comfortable knowing this particular industry and what I do. There are skills that I need to build or learn to pursue my passion, and I don't have the requisite time to do that. And some people are just honestly nervous or scared about learning new things. They may feel as though they may not be able to learn it quickly enough.
Or they have so much commitment, family and stuff. Right?
Family, there's a mortgage, there's social status that may be tied to certain industries. And the reality is this: if I've invested a lot of time through college or whatever means to pursue my current work, I don't necessarily want to negate all of that hard work to pursue something that's not as transparent, and I don't even know if it will, work out. But what I hear a lot now, which for me was like 5 or 10 years ago, I was always like, what are you passionate about? And people would, their eyes would light up and they'll get all excited and talk about it. Now I bring it up and people are like, it's almost like it does you know what I mean? Like,
it's just, what does that mean?
It's like, come on, man, I know what I'm passionate about, but it actually creates a sense of negative emotions. Yeah, like it's almost like time it's done. And of course there's different age groups. People in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s look at it or may look at it differently. But it now creates a certain level of anxiety and discomfort. So, I don't look at passion as much as I used to. I now moved into well-being and more so mental health, but I still look at entrepreneurship.
I really want to hear about that transition. What were the obstacles and the blocks or the enlightenment that led to that transition?
The enlightenment is I became more interested in well-being. I became more interested personally, I became more interested in well-being, and that showed in my academic approach. I think passion is a very interesting area of study, but the reality is because I consider myself a practitioner as much as an academic, you can research passion and see the different ways it impacts people, how they may use passion outside of work to buffer their negative emotions or feelings within the workplace. There are different areas that you can look at.
Yeah.
But as a practitioner, I literally see constantly with people around me that it is not something that's as easy as it sounds to go out and pursue your passion. And you can say, I just felt like, you know what, maybe this isn't worth the energy. Maybe I need to just step into something that I'm more passionate about now, which is mental health. But the conversations now are extremely difficult or challenging in a sense that before there was joy in having that discourse around passion, but now seeing that it creates anxiety for people that are close to me, that I love, it now seems like maybe there needs to be a better balance. I'll give you a perfect example. If someone says that they're passionate about helping young Black women to speak more or become more active in their communities or become activists, whatever it is, if they say they want to write that book 3 years ago, and I speak to them the following year, and the following year, and this year, and they haven't written a single word, that conversation becomes very challenging for them because they feel guilty that they're still not taking steps forward.
And there's the problem of failing in public.
Failing in public, oh, it's so huge. Like even this for me, I don't necessarily, have these interviews or conversation because it's not necessarily my bread and butter. However, and this is the way I look at passion, and I think we can talk about this, further. The way I look at passion is, what's more important? Is it helping people that I want to serve, add value, and love on? Or is it surrendering to my own fears of not living up to certain expectations? So it goes back to just, and I think you used the word earlier, empathy of, I now care more about the people I'm sharing my story with, my research, my results, that could potentially benefit or impact their lives versus my own insecurities of failing in public.
Yeah.
If I fail in public, whatever that means to myself or to other people, as long as it kind of touches or hits home with some individuals, I think that I'm fine with that.
So yeah, more of an open discourse on passion.
Yeah.
And we were thinking about new topics to explore together. We did mention relationships. Which would be an incredible topic to dive into. But do ask us your questions and what else you might want to have us talk about, if anything.
Yes, especially like relationships, because I have a plethora of different avenues to go with that. That may be the ultimate transparent, moment for me. So be very interesting.
So let us know if you'd like to learn more about this, and thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you had a lot of value out of that. And we'll see you next week, next episode, next year. Hopefully sooner than that. Hopefully next month.
It depends on the comments.
Depends on the comments.
Depends on the comments.
Just stay on top of those comments, guys.